So shout out to the comment section for constantly, bringing up a lot of different angles that maybe I fail to cover in my videos. And I think for a good reason, because I want the arguments to be purely based on the material nature of what it is that I'm bringing to the table in regard to facts, in regard to data, and in regard to what it is that is out there. So based on my video where I said that, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a wasted opportunity because we saw that Sony needs to sell 7.2 million copies of the game to break even. Hence, we knew that there is something that needs to be done. This is from the Insomniac leak document. It's unfortunate this is the data that we have, that it's one that is gotten from an illegal hack, but it is a reality of what we have. Now, when you actually pair that with the, big elephant in the room, that PlayStation is slowly bringing its games to PC and will more than likely start, closing that window lower and lower, it makes sense to ask the question, if sales is something that is of a, expedient nature for PlayStation, why not sell your games on the PC platform where there are many, many players who will be happy to engage them? However, in that video, instead of addressing or at least answering the questions, we get an ad hominem. So shout out to this person that put this comment on here with your PSG logo. I don't know why you're a PSG fan. Like, what? Anyways, another PC guy, according to them, who is obsessed with PS games. Talk about your own games on PC. It's like people who don't like Doritos reviewing different flavors of Doritos like LOL. This is a miscategorization. It's not necessarily a pure ad hominem. It's also a red herring where somebody tries to take what is being said and diverge, because in reality, if they try to grapple with what is going on here, they're going to realize that there's a big gaping hole with the logic that they're trying to present. Now, I'm going to take the time to go ahead and address this frame of mind, because a lot of times people consider or see me as, in quote, this PC guy. Now, for somebody like me, the very first time I ever owned any device I could play a game on was a little Tetris handheld. From then, I basically went without owning any video games until I got my first PC that could play a few games. But I never really even considered myself a PC player because I would always make my way to the arcades growing up in third world Africa to go play Pro Evolution Soccer on the PlayStation 1. I had some friends that had a PS1. I had friends that had a PS2, and I'll be hanging out in their houses every time I was on a holiday. So I already had what I call that childhood affinity and branding of the PlayStation on my mind. Even the Nintendo was a thing that was there, but I never owned a Nintendo console in my life until I grew up, became an adult, and bought my children a Nintendo Switch. However, over the course of time, not being a gamer and then being a gamer, I ended up buying a PlayStation 4 sometime around 2015 because PlayStation had always been the console that I played on. So I'm actually a huge PS guy, but I don't say it because I know I want the argument to not necessarily have to lead in with that, but to lead in with the data. But for the past few days, I've seen a lot of people basically try to drag me, attack me, and talk about all this stuff because many of them don't necessarily know that. If you actually, are in a sense, more, I would say, drawn to a brand, the one thing you don't want to do is sell your brain out with that brand. You want to be able to take a step back and look and say, what is the objective reality here? And I think that objective reality kind of hit me when on the PlayStation, I was playing a live service game. I was a big FIFA player, but I started playing the Division 1. And this was a live service game that really did, in a sense, appeal to me. Even though I don't play shooters, the RPG-esque nature of the game was very attractive. So I played it for a long time. And then somehow, I noticed that people on PC were able to enjoy the game and enjoy a better version of the game. They got better frame rates. They got better performance. And the game looked much smoother than it did on the PlayStation 4. And I said to myself, you know what? If this game looks better on the PlayStation 4, on the PC, and it's a game that I like, why not just invest in getting a PC? And at that time, I wanted to start YouTube. So in 2016, I bought a PC and I started making YouTube videos on The Division. Since then, I've basically been playing on the PlayStation and on the PC. In fact, when the PS5 was very scarce, I remember this crazy story, and I've said it before, where me and my buddy, we ran to the state next to ours to go buy our PlayStation 5s from a Walmart. I remember they had 13 units left. He'd been tracking it all day, and he told me about it, and I said, bro, pick me up. and we went to get it, and he got into so much trouble. I mean, like, he got into so much trouble. I didn't see him for weeks. He got into so much trouble. I felt compelled to buy him a second controller just so that his wife would not kill him for making that trip and all of the circumstances around. It's a big deal. I mean, it was crazy. And for somebody to come ahead and tell me this, to me, I think you're dodging the argument. You really don't know what you're talking about. You're saying talk about your own games. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, what does that even mean? When people make these arguments about PC and say, why does PC not have its own exclusive, or why don't you talk about PC games? It's staggeringly, silly. And that's the nicest way I can put it. I don't want to, be demeaning, but it is a silly comment. And we all know it's a silly comment. And this silliness is good at throwing pixie dust on top of the argument, which is PlayStation has been playing games with us for the past few years. Those of us that have actually been affiliated, in a sense, who've built our gaming library, the people that Phil Spencer talked about, that said, when he said we lost the worst console generation to lose, and a lot of people build their library on PlayStation. I am one of those people. If you look at my PlayStation library, you'd be shocked. From the PlayStation 4 days, getting games on PlayStation Plus, PlayStation offered a good value. It had every game almost, and it had its own exclusives. It was a very solid platform to be on. However, when the console generation was changing, PlayStation decided that its dominance was going to be leveraged to milk the customers and not necessarily give us anything. I'll give you case example in point. After I'd rushed and hustled to go buy this PlayStation 5, and by the way, I have a gaming PC at this point that can eat a PS5 for breakfast, yet I got up and I went and got this console. PlayStation was like, yo man, everybody gets the PlayStation collection on there for free if you have a PS5. And everybody was like, wow, that's so cool. I knew it was a response to Game Pass. And I was like, well, that's good. They don't just want Game Pass to come out here and be the best value. However, PlayStation turns around and puts all of these games under some subscription service, and they were then gone. To me, I said, this is crazy. This is backhanded because this company is somehow trying to leverage their dominance. And I'm already on PC at this point, by the way. And I'm thinking to myself, if they do not show any measure of faith to their consumers, and an Xbox comes in, which I already saw Xbox making moves, I knew that their days were numbered. So this is me as a consumer telling you how I think we got played for the most part and how we should not let it happen again. The reason PlayStation went this direction is because we let them. We gave them all the accolades. We supported their games. Dude, I bought the Uncharted collection of the PlayStation 4. I walked into GameStop, never pre-ordered a game in my life. And I said, I want to pre-order Uncharted 4. They were like, oh yeah, you can put down a little bit of money. I said, nah, I put the full $60 down because this is how much I enjoy the PlayStation games. So the reality here is these PlayStation games have not necessarily been selling. PlayStation is looking for money rather than actually take the sensible route, but their games on PC. They're billing their own consumers an extra 20% for PlayStation Plus. A service, by the way, that offers you cloud service, free games, and online play that I already get on PC for free. Do you see how in my brain I'm starting to think, okay, what's wrong with this picture? It is this picture that I'm trying to basically paint for my community members and our audiences to say, hey guys, if you really want a good deal in gaming, it's no longer the PlayStation, and it doesn't seem like it will continue to be the PlayStation because even they understand that the reason that their platform is the way it is because they have not offered any unique selling points for their platform. They've hinged their whole business plan on perception rather than reality. This perception has cost them significantly because now that we now see exactly what the inner workings are, it is all a wash. Nintendo, who sells less consoles than PlayStation, is smoking them in the software sales. Well, they know what to do to be able to make up for these console sales because I can tell you that these 3 games that you're seeing on the PlayStation that are actually clocking 24, 23, and 22 million copies, do you know where they also are present on? They're present on the PC platform. You get a better version of the game. You get a moddable version of the game. I had never modded a game before. The first game I modded was Marvel Spider-Man Remastered. I was so excited to be able to put on a black suit. I made a video about it. It was fun. But don't come back here and tell me, in the nicest way possible, Don't tell me that, I'm another PC person obsessed with PlayStation games. Trust me, you have not you have not PlayStation around as much as I have in regard to how much I've gone hard in the paint for this particular console because I enjoyed what the console brought. But we're not going to let it slide because I see the glimpses of exactly what it is these companies do once you actually give them a little bit of your, resources. They start to take away some of them from you. They start to find ways to basically shortchange you and increase their coffers. But the reality is they don't even have to do that. If it was, say, the market is locked tight, they didn't have the option, I'd say, okay, maybe this is what they want to do to be more profitable. But they have the option to go dump 4, 5, 6 million copies of their games on PC in the first month, and they refuse to do it because they want to prioritize console sales. But at the same time are choking when it comes to software sales that could have netted them more money. What are they trying to play? What game are they trying to play? At the same time, they're talking about how they want to lay off or how they need to prioritize laying off their own developers. So those of you that are defending PlayStation, let me tell you what we saw in the leaks. They want, according to the leaks, are pressuring their leaders in Insomniac to cut developers, about 50 to 75. That is a huge range, by the way, to 50 to 75 developers to a company that is making you your next AAA title that is more than likely going to be more relevant than any other AAA titles that's being made, or as relevant. Let's not say more, because there'll be another, Kratos game, hopefully, right? And at the same time, you want to cut their jobs when you could actually go dump 5 million, copies on PC and easily make money to expand your operation. But this console sale paradigm that they've not been able to break out of because they've pretty much stayed in the blockbuster mindset is now starting to get them. Xbox is putting a market pressure because they're offering a service that PlayStation has nothing close to. Nintendo is sitting pretty because they already understand their market. They're selling less consoles than PlayStation overall. If you look at how much PlayStation 4s and PlayStation 5s have sold. And then at the end of the day, somebody wants to come and talk about your own games. No, my games are also PlayStation games. My games are also games that show up on PC. My games are games that show up on Xbox that I like. If I like them, they're games that I want to play. You don't get to tell me that. All of you that are making all these different excuses, maybe you think that these excuses are going to somehow stop me from actually saying what it is that I think is going on. Maybe you just didn't know where I came from. It's my fault. I should have given you the spill at first, but this is it. This is it right here. This is where I'm coming from. And I want y'all to know that, but I don't want that to actually be the basis of my argument. I just want the fact to be the basis of my argument. Simple. My Xbox right now, my Series X, is sitting in dev mode for emulation. I don't even touch it. I don't even play. It gathers dust, just like the PlayStation 5. In fact, I play the PlayStation 5 more than I do the Xbox. It is what it is, right? So it's not necessarily about going for a team. It's finding value as to who's going to basically give the consumer the very best value. And I've seen some other people tell me that, it's unethical to look at the leaks or look at the gameplay for Wolverine. Excuse me. I didn't hack PlayStation. They're the ones who didn't secure their servers. They're the ones who didn't secure our data and their own employees' data. It is their responsibility. The whole onus is on them. Don't do this defensive thing that you're doing. This is the problem we have. You will let them get away with everything, and then at the end of the day, they will still shortchange you because they want to make money. This is not how it works. Take away the glasses of subjectiveness. Take away the glasses of your perceived or maybe unrecognized loyalty to some brand or some box, and let's see what the reality is, and let's start holding their feet to the fire. The reason Xbox is even where they are today is because of this extreme holding of their feet to the fire. Even till today, Xbox can't even get any wins in the eyes of anybody, and they keep going with innovation, keep going with profits, keep going with value to their customers. Because that's exactly what's happened. I think that's inadvertently pushed them to the point where they've just been so innovative that before you know what's going on, you guys and your criticisms are going to create a giant out of this company. And because you've left PlayStation, you're going to pretty much, leave them to just basically wallow in dirt, and no one's going to be able to compete with. You don't want Xbox to have the market position. Be objective. Thanks for watching this video. I'll make more on this subject, hopefully. God willing, we're still here. We're watching. Hopefully PlayStation can take a turnaround, but they know exactly what they need to do. Peace out.